you have to decide. Are you going to be plant-based or are you not? Like, how many times are you going to keep convincing yourself that a little bit of yogurt won't hurt, a little bit of cheese won't hurt? Every time you eat dairy, you bloated and you in pain. You got to make a decision. Is we dairy free or is we ain't? No wonder your health keeps stressing you out. You're not deciding. Well, Lisa don't know what she's talking about. Everything in moderation is safe. But every time you eat sugar, every time you have a flare up for your autoimmune condition, you have a flare up with your reproductive health challenge, your endometriosis, your sciatica, your Graves' disease, your autoimmune, you know sugar makes it worse, but you so worried about the unknown and the unfamiliar that you are unwilling to decide. So you just stay in pain. So now your health just gonna keep stressing you out because you can't make a decision about whether you in or you out. Is we or is we ain't?
Optimal health is not a privilege, it's a right. However, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of health challenges today can be attributed to lifestyle. This includes our physical activity, the quality of our relationships, stress, purpose and fulfillment, and of course, our diet. But what if there was an alternative? What if we could prevent and combat these health challenges with lifestyle changes before pills and procedures? You are listening to the Plant Protocol podcast with yours truly, plant-based health and business coach, and now the forever voice in your head, Lisa A. Smith. It's time to come get this health. Hey, it's Coach Lisa, and I hope you've been enjoying this chronic stress series, learning a lot about what it means to be chronically stressed, and most importantly, the health implications of being chronically stressed. And if you would love to talk with me live, I'm popping in to tell you about a complimentary class I'm hosting on February 20th. On February 20th, I'm going to be teaching the hidden costs of chronic stress. Yeah, we're not done yet, because what I know for certain after being a coach for over a decade is that we have to hear stuff over and over again in multiple ways so that we can make significant changes. So on February 20th, Thursday, February 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be teaching a masterclass entitled The Hidden Costs of Chronic Stress. I'm going to get into even more detail about how stress can be dangerous to our lives and our overall well-being. And I'm going to be sharing some things you probably never thought of before you know about the health implications and that stress can lead to disease. At least I hope you know that by now. But I'm going to be sharing some additional costs of being chronically stressed. So you want to get in the virtual room. Now, this class is complimentary. So all you have to do is click the link in the show notes to get registered for Thursday, February 20th at 1 p.m. EST to join me in my next live class about stress. I look forward to seeing you there. Let's talk about chronic stress. So the majority of 2024, I spent a lot of time talking about the health risk of chronic stress. And I've talked about it on stages and podcasts and on my social media. And I taught, I think, 2 or 3 master classes last year all about chronic stress. And so today what I want to do for you guys is I want to break down a framework that I taught last year about 3 different stages of chronic stress, because I need you guys to understand how deadly it is to be chronically stressed. And so I want to I figured this would be a perfect conversation for the top of the year, so many of us don't make the same mistake that we made last year. So today I'm going to give you guys a super dope framework on how to know what path you should be taking to get out of a state of chronic stress if you're in it right now. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling a little lost, if you've been in a state for a long time where maybe you feel stuck, you feel uncertain, you feel fearful, you feel unfulfilled, you feel unhappy, and it's really taking a toll on you mentally, emotionally, and physically, you might be in a state of chronic stress. And I'm hoping that today's episode will help you to figure out what to do next, like your best next step. Like there's a bunch of next steps, but what's the best next step? I want to start off by making a distinction between acute stress and chronic stress, making a distinction between the two, because it is very, very common for me to talk about chronic stress and people be like, no, we're supposed to be stressed. Like stress is a normal part of life. Nobody can get rid of stress. Nobody can get rid of all stress.
And so one of the things people say a lot of times when I talk about stress and I talk about the importance of eliminating and not managing is we always get people who say, no, stress is no, that's impossible, right? And so let me start off this conversation by making a very clear distinction. When I'm talking about eliminating chronic stress and when I'm talking about chronic stress being really, really deadly to our health, to our overall well-being, really harmful, I'm talking about chronic. And so acute stress is normal, and that's the stress that we can expect. Okay. That's the stress that we can expect. So acute stress is normal. However, chronic stress kills, guys. Chronic stress kills. And so I want to make sure that you guys have a very clear understanding of what the difference between the two is before we move forward today. All right. So acute stress, normal, life is going to life. Acute stress is usually time bound. It's something that's not going to last forever, not ongoing. And most importantly, it's purposeful and it's meaningful. So you might have a big project. You might be planning a wedding. You might be like me, writing a book, all of these things. And even though it could be, overwhelming and it can be tiresome, it's meaningful, it's purposeful, and it's time bound. All right. Acute stress could also be something like an unexpected event comes up, right? So a big appliance breaks in your home or you incur a loss that you didn't expect, right? That's also stressful. And that's normal. Life is going to life for all of us. But once the thing gets repaired or once you go through your stages of grieving and get through the breakup or get through the loss of the job or get through the loss of the loved one, like it's a moment in time, but it's not expected to last forever. And acute stress is extremely healthy and normal. So we can expect that. But the stress that I'm going to be talking about today is chronic stress. Now, chronic stress should not exist. So when we talk about things like self-care and yoga and breathing and journaling and prayer and meditation, all of those are stress management techniques, and they are extremely helpful for acute stress. But we should not be applying those things to chronic stress. Well, we need to eliminate chronic stress. We can do all of those things in the interim, but we need an exit strategy. We need an exit strategy when it comes to chronic stress. And so kind of the framework that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is breaking that down. So before I move forward, everybody can confirm for me that that is super clear, that I understand that acute stress is a normal part of life, but chronic stress, which is long-term, ongoing, not purposeful, and I don't have an exit from, that is what kills. That is what causes the 90% of our lifestyle disease. The underlying cause of a lot of our chronic health challenges is coming from stress, right? And I want you guys to know that emotional stress is what's really causing our health challenges and us having a less than ideal experience in life. So here's what I always say, right? Here's the preface for today's conversation. And I just alluded to it, which is when you are experiencing chronic stress, right? The kind that is harmful and deadly. When we are experiencing chronic stress, you need two things. You need an exit strategy to get out of the painful circumstance, and you need an enter strategy to get into pleasure. So we need an exit and we need an enter. We need an exit and we need an enter. All right. So a very simple example of this is, when it comes to our career, because for many of us, the stress that we feel is caused from our job. For many people, we are not happy with our work. It's overwhelming. We are not fulfilled. A lot of us don't feel meaningful and purposeful. A lot of us don't feel like our talents and our gifts are being utilized in the best way. And so for a lot of us, the cause of our chronic stress is our work. And so what I mean when I say an exit strategy and an enter strategy, if we were taking your work as an example, you need an exit strategy from the work that doesn't fulfill you. But that's usually where people stop. How the heck do I get out of here? Or how do I transition out of this role, even if I'm going to stay in the company? Or how do I get out of this company? I hate this job. I hate this work. I hate this work. I hate this job. That's the exit strategy. What most people fail to create, though, is now an enter strategy for where they really want to go. And those are two separate strategies. So to get out of pain requires one thing. To get into pleasure requires a whole nother thing. Getting out of pain requires something, and getting into pleasure requires something different, right? So if you're going to make the decision to leave your job, your current company, you're like, I don't want to transition, Lisa. I don't want to talk to them about moving to another department. I want out of this whole situation, this whole company. I'm done. That's fine. The exit strategy might look like selecting a date that you're going to exit. Like, this is going to be my last day. An exit strategy might look like writing your letter of resignation, right? An exit strategy might look like having a conversation with your family or your spouse and letting them know, like, I'm unhappy. I got to make a move. We got to go. Like, an exit strategy might be saving up to make sure you have enough money for whatever's going to happen after. So that's all exiting. But what do you want to do instead? Like, where would you rather be? Where's the strategy for that? Getting out of the company is not the same as entering into entrepreneurship, if that's what you would prefer to do. Does that make sense, everyone? And so where we go wrong is we kind of have a picture of what it'll take to get out of pain, but we don't have a picture of what it takes to get into pleasure. And so we sometimes, if we're not careful and we don't do this thing right, we'll do enough to get out of pain. But because we didn't have a plan for where we wanted to go, we end up right back where we left, or in this awkward gray area, feeling wayward and lost because we didn't plan for where we really wanted to be. And so exiting out of something is not the same as entering into something else, guys. And so when it comes to chronic stress, you need both. You need an exit strategy and you need an enter strategy. Both of them are equally important. Exiting out of a diagnosis where you're sick and in pain and unwell is not the same as entering into optimal health, where you're thriving, you're pain-free, you're medication-free. Those are two separate statuses, and they require different versions of you. All right. So that is the prereq for the remainder of our conversation today. Chronic stress requires an exit strategy. Step 1, getting out of chronic stress. You must have an exit strategy. Step 2, getting out of chronic stress. You must have an enter strategy. All right. So you need both to successfully and once and for all leave that circumstance. I don't care if the circumstance is a relationship. I don't care if the circumstance is career. I don't care if the circumstance is a health status. I don't care if the circumstance is financial issues. I don't care if the circumstance is in your faith. I don't care if the circumstance is in your personal development. You have some trauma you haven't healed from. You got to exit to get out of pain, but you got to have a strategy to get where you want to get. I need that to be crystal clear for you guys. So with all of that being said, let's get into the 3 stages of eliminating chronic stress so you guys can identify where you are on the spectrum, okay? But I needed to tell you guys about the exit strategy first in order for the remainder of this conversation to make sense. All right, so here's stage 1. Stage 1, so you identify where you are so you can decide how to move. So here's stage 1, right? So I'm a passenger princess. All right. It's not a secret to like anybody in my life, friends, family, everybody, right? I'm a passenger princess. Like, they know Lisa does not want to drive. I'm not interested. Like, take me. All right. I'm a passenger princess. And so, you know, my bestie, every time he's driving, right, he has a very bad habit of when we're leaving somebody somewhere, and you guys tell me if this is you or if you got somebody like this in your life. We're leaving somewhere, right? And we'll be in the parking lot and we get in the car and he gets in the driver's seat and he just starts the car and drives off. Now, mind you, this is usually when we're in a very unfamiliar city, right? We're in an unfamiliar city. And so he will get in the car and we don't know where we're going. Like, we're somewhere where neither one of us are from. It's an unfamiliar city. It's a new place because we're traveling or whatever's happening. And he would just get in the car and drive off. And I'm like, what are you doing? We don't know where we're going, right? So me, the passenger princess. Now, if anybody else on here is a passenger princess, you know, one of the responsibilities of the passenger princess is to help navigate. And so I'm trying to do my duties and my role on the passenger side of, wait, let me get the phone out, let me get the situation, and let me type in the destination in the navigation system. But he's so fast paced, right? He likes to move so quickly that he does not like waiting for the passenger princess to do her job. He doesn't like waiting for the passenger princess to type in the destination. He would prefer to just get in the car in this unfamiliar city, start the car up and drive off. Like, you know what? This looks like a good street to turn down. This looks like a good way to exit the parking lot. No destination, just ready to go. Right. And so inevitably what happens is by the time I've buckled up and adjusted my hot tea and, you know, checked my eyebrows out in the mirror and I'm finally ready to put the destination into the navigation, We already on a road with no destination. No destination. Stage one of eliminating chronic stress is you have no exit strategy, right? Travis, sounds crazy. I bet it does. You have no exit strategy. Stage one of eliminating chronic stress, the reason you are in a state of overwhelm and stress is because you have no strategy. So what happens is you're constantly in this negative thought loop. Like, I hate this job. I don't want to be here. I hate this job. I don't want to be here. I hate this job. I don't want to be here. Thoughts are never focused on what you want instead, what the destination is, what the exit strategy is. So the reason you're in a state of chronic overwhelm and stress is because you're so focused on the pain. You're so focused on the discomfort. You're so focused on the unfulfillment and the unhappiness. You've never taken the time to put a new destination in the navigation system. You might be at stage one if you don't have an exit strategy. Now, let me tell you what's required to get out of this stage. If this is you, you're like, yeah, Lisa, I feel overwhelmed. You know, my finances are overwhelming me, or one of my relationships are overwhelming me. One of my friendships are overwhelming me. You know, my career is overwhelming me. And so it hurts. It's uncomfortable. Like you might be miserable, whatever's starting to take a toll on you physically and emotionally and mentally. But part of the reason you're still in that state is because you have no exit strategy. But the reason you have no exit strategy is because you have not made a decision. So a lot of times we're stressed out, not because of the circumstance itself. You're not stressed out just because it's a horrible company. You got a horrible boss. You're not stressed out because you and your partner have, lost harmony. You're not just stressed out because of the circumstance. You're stressed out because you have not made a decision, because before you can have an exit strategy, you have to make a decision. Some of us are so indecisive. Some of us are so unwilling to make a decision that we stay in undesirable circumstances longer than we're meant to because we're afraid to choose something different. When you make a decision, it literally means to kill off all other options. So let me get this straight. You're unhappy in your current role. You're unhappy in your current position. You're unhappy in your current job. However, you have not decided whether or not you're going to leave. You're just waking up every day and going back there and complaining about it and being miserable, but you haven't decided what you're going to do instead. You haven't decided on what the alternatives are. You haven't decided on whether or not you're going to apply for that higher up position or that management position or whatever. You haven't decided if you're just going to quit the company altogether and just chill out for a few months or a few years. You haven't decided if you want to just retire early. You haven't decided if you're going to start that business that's been in the back of your mind for a decade. You're not making any decisions. It's impossible to have an exit strategy if you're not decisive. Stage one of eliminating chronic stress is you have no exit strategy. You might be in stage one if there's no exit strategy. And the reason there's no exit strategy is because you're refusing to make decisions. And the reason you're refusing to make decisions, most of us, it's because you don't trust your own decision making. You lack confidence in your own decision making. That's all confidence means is to trust yourself. You lack confidence in your own decision making. So because you're unwilling to make a decision, are you going to stay in the marriage or is you ain't? Is we going to go to counseling or are we not? Are you going to tell them how you really feel or are you not? Like, what are we going to, you're not making decisions. You got this debt and you got these properties and you know, I need to make it. Am I going to sell these things? Am I going to flip them? You're not making decisions. Am I going to call the credit card company? You're not making decisions. And so it's impossible to have an exit strategy with no decision making, which keeps you where? In a state of chronic stress. You overwhelmed and stressed out because you like, I could do this. I could do that. I could go here. I could go there. I could choose this. I could choose that. You in the parking lot, no destination in the navigational system. So you just driving up this street, down this alley. That's a one way. Got to turn around. You don't know where you go. You just overwhelmed and stressed out. No destination. Stage one, make a decision. If this is you, if you're stressed out and it's unhealthy stress, not healthy stress, but it's unhealthy stress, and you have no exit strategy, the first thing you have to do is look at that area of your life, look at those circumstances, and you're going to have to start doing probably what's going to be one of the scariest things for you at this point, which is decide. You have to decide. Are you going to be plant-based or are you not? Like, how many times are you going to keep convincing yourself that a little bit of yogurt won't hurt, a little bit of cheese won't hurt? Every time you eat dairy, you bloated and you in pain. You got to make a decision. Is we dairy free or is we ain't? No wonder your health keeps stressing you out. You're not deciding. Well, Lisa don't know what she's talking about. Everything in moderation is safe. But every time you eat sugar, every time you have a flare up for your autoimmune condition, you have a flare up with your reproductive health challenge, your endometriosis, your sciatica, your Graves' disease, your autoimmune, you know sugar makes it worse. But you so worried about the unknown and the unfamiliar that you are unwilling to decide. So you just stay in pain. So now your health just gonna keep stressing you out because you can't make a decision about whether you in or you out. Is we or is we ain't? It's too much. And so stage one of eliminating chronic stress is there's no exit strategy. If there's no exit strategy, it's likely because you are being indecisive or you are unwilling to make a decision and stick to it. When you decide something, you kill off all other options. So that's stage one. Let's talk about stage two. So here's what happens with stage two. If stage one is I get in the car, but I don't put a destination in the navigation system. Stage two is I have an exit strategy, Lisa. I actually know where I'm going. I know where I want to be instead. I'm very clear on what I would rather have, right? I'm very clear on where I would rather be, right? I'm very clear. I have a strategy and I know what to do to get there. Like I put the destination in the navigation system. I hit start and it told me the steps. So I'm clear, Lisa. I've done my due diligence to get clear on what the steps are that I need to take to get from where I am to where I want to be. So there's no ambiguity. You're not living in a gray area about what you should be doing. Okay? You don't live in a gray area about what you should be doing. Step two is I have an exit strategy, Lisa. I'm not in a gray area about what the steps are that is going to take me from where I am to where I want to be. However, Lisa, I'm too scared to turn the car on. Child, I done got in the car. I done buckled up. I done put the destination in the navigation system. It done gave me all the steps. I done did all my research. Okay. If I want to start a business, if I want to start a podcast, if I want to write a book, if I want to be plant-based, if I want to be financial free, I done binged on the podcast. I've been listening to Lisa for years. I've been on her email list, coming to her lives. Like I'm on it. Like I done locked into the experts that I trust. Like I done told, I got all the steps, Lisa. I got an exit strategy. I got something in the navigation system, but I won't start this car up and drive. Stage two of eliminating chronic stress, where some of you may be, is no execution. Stage one, no exit strategy. Stage two, no execution. I have a destination. I have the steps. It's laid out for me. I know exactly what I should be doing to get from where I am to where I want to be, but there's no execution. There's no execution. Now, I told you guys, if you were in stage one where you didn't have an exit strategy, it was because you weren't making decisions. If you're in stage two, I have an exit strategy, but I'm not executing. It is because you have a belief issue. I see this over and over and over and over and over again. As a coach, we do health coaching at my company, we do business coaching, and we do personal development coaching. I see it in every single one of our programs because when they come into the program, what did they just invest in? They invested in a strategy. They're like, I want a business. I want my own coaching business, Lisa. I want my own coaching business like you. I'm going to invest in your business accelerator to come learn how to do it. When I invest in your business accelerator, I am investing in a strategy. So they have all the steps. I'm like, here's step one, what you got to do to have a successful coaching business. Here's step two of what you need to do to have a successful coaching business. Here's step 3, 4, 5. They have all the steps in front of them, but then there's no execution. If you are on this stage of chronic stress, you're overwhelmed. I got a strategy, but I'm not executing. You have a belief issue. And I'll tell you some of the most common limiting beliefs I've seen in my career as a coach. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. There's not enough of something. There's not enough people want to buy. There's not enough people listening. Nobody wants to hear my voice. Nobody cares what I have to say. There's not enough time. I'm not healthy enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not articulate enough. I'm not confident enough. I have so much self-doubt. I have so much shame. I have so much guilt about something I've done in the past. And so I don't want people to know. I'm worried about what people think. I believe people are going to think less of me, or I think people are going to antagonize me, or I think people are going to troll me. I'm worried about what people will think. I'm worried about people won't like it. When I put it out there, people won't buy it. People won't read it. People won't consume it. And I'm so worried. I'm so worried. There's a belief. So I have strategies, Lisa, but I can't execute on a strategy because I have a limiting belief telling me a story. And the story is telling me that I wasn't built for this. I wasn't made for this, that I'm not gifted enough for this. I have a limited belief. I have a story that's telling me I can't afford this. There's not enough money for that. I have a limiting belief tell me that other people can't afford this. Everybody's broke. Nobody's going to pay me. I got a limiting belief in the story telling me over and over again that thing that they told me when I was younger, that thing that my daddy said that I never forgot, that thing that my mama said about not shining too bright, to let other people shine and be humble. That makes me think that I'm wrong if I brag. That thing that I learned years ago when I had that bad experience with that salesperson made me think that all sales are bold and all sales are slimy and grimy. And I don't want to sell anything to anybody, because when you try and sell something to people, you're a slime ball. And so I got all these stories from my past experiences telling me this. So even though I got a destination in the navigation system, I can't start the car and take off because all of these limiting beliefs from all of my past experiences is telling me that success is not available to me. It's telling me that I'm not good enough. It's telling me that I'm wrong if I don't work for free for the rest of my life. It's telling me all of these stories. The fact that I never finished my degree makes me feel like I'm not qualified to be in a room. It makes me feel like I'm not qualified to be an entrepreneur like everybody else. Lisa, I got an exit strategy, but I have no execution. Now I'm stressed out. I still wake up every day unhappy and unfulfilled and underpaid and overworked and miserable. I don't think I'm pretty enough to get nobody else, or I think I'm too old. I've been in this marriage too long, Lisa. We've been married for 30 years. Yeah, I've been miserable for the last 10, but I can't leave it because what's left? I mean, I saw Later Daters on Netflix, but that don't apply to me. Like, I can't, Lisa. Right? That's not available to me anymore. I'm too old. I'm in my 60s and my 70s. I just got to settle in with this. I got to continue to settle. So yeah, I want out of this situation, and I know what it takes, but I can't start the car and take off. Who I'm talking to? I have an exit strategy, but I have no execution. Who I'm talking to? And this is why you're chronically stressed, because you know what to do. But I feel like if I step down from the position at the church, they need me. Yeah, volunteering, I overcommitted and I've been stretching myself, and I don't have time for my workouts. I don't have time to cook my food. I don't have time for my me time and my meditation. But if I let go some of the stuff that I committed to, then I'm going to be letting so many people down, and they need me, and the whole church going to fall apart, and my whole sorority going to fall apart, and the whole kids' school going to fall apart if I don't do everything. Or I can't trust nobody else to do nothing else, because delegating, no, that ain't my strong suit. Like, everybody going to mess it up. It's just me. I got to wear the cape. I got to wear the hat for everything. So I can't make time for this. So I know what it takes to get out of my state of chronic stress, but there's not enough me to go around. And so therefore there's no execution. And then I wake up another day from now, another month from now, another year from now, and I'm still overwhelmed. I'm still in a state of unfulfillment and unhappiness and chronic stress, because I know what to do, but I have no execution because I have a belief that's telling me. I'm just saying, y'all, like the chronic stress, because I'm like, okay, some of you guys are really super like smart and sophisticated. I said, Lisa, what do super smart, sophisticated, chronically stressed out people need to hear? I'm like, oh, they need this broken down in lecture style, because they done went to colleges and universities and then did fellowships and then did certifications, and they super smart. So this is how y'all learn best. I know my super smart Black women. This is how y'all learn best. I'm like, put it in a framework, lecture style, step 1, 2, and 3 that'll make them get it. Because y'all not hearing me when I tell y'all, you're dying slowly if you are chronically stressed. What is it going to take for you to get up and make a decision to move the needle? What is it going to take? I'm like, okay, well, break it down for them so they can identify exactly what stage they're in so they can make the appropriate decision. So if you're in stage 1, where you're chronically stressed with no exit strategy, you are avoiding decision making. Make some decisions so that you can get an exit strategy. You got to decide where you want to go so that you can get the steps that it takes to get there. You can't put nothing in the navigation system if you don't have a destination. Make some decisions. Stage 2, you might be in stage 2 if, Lisa, I know where I want to go and I'm typed it in a Navi, but I am not driving. I am not starting the car. I'm just sitting in the parking lot, scared out of my mind. You have no execution, and you have no execution because you have a belief issue. Lisa, I know I belong in front of people. I have a voice. I have information I want to share, but I'm so insecure about my weight. I'm so insecure about my body. And so I know what it's going to take to get where I want to be. I know I need to start speaking. I know I need to start teaching. I know I need to revive my social media page. I know I need to revive my YouTube page. I know I need to revive my podcast, but I can't because I'm so insecure. I got a belief issue. I feel like I don't look like what I'm talking about. I feel like people don't want to hear from me. I can't step on that stage. I got so much insecurity. And so that is preventing me from starting the car and driving. Chronic stress. And so now what does that result in? Disobedience. God gave me the voice. God gave me the message, but I'm refusing to turn on the mic and the camera because I have physical insecurities, because I believe people are going to judge me for what I look like. And if they don't, I'll judge myself of what I look. And so that's going to stop me from using my voice and using the gift and that God gave me and delivering the message that God told me. And now I am not only chronically stressed, I'm disobedient.
Pardon the interruption, but I have a few questions for you. Is your health holding you back from showing up as your personal best? Are you ready to thrive in the spotlight with vibrant health and confidence? Are you being called to tell your story, but you're not sure that you're qualified to do so? Are you a leader who's responsible for people, teams, and communities, but your health is more of a liability than it is an asset? Then keep listening. Since 2016, I've been facilitating our signature plant-based coaching program, Farm to Table. And we just opened up enrollment for our next cohort starting February 12th. However, for the first time in Farm to Table history, we're doing something extremely special. I will be facilitating a special cohort of Farm to Table where we're going to be focusing on radical obedience. In this 12-week plant-based coaching program, you will learn directly from me how to optimize your health so that you can show up publicly and confidently the way you envision in your mind. If you have a voice, if you have a story to tell, if you feel you're being called to leadership, if you have a public-facing role, if you have a personal brand that you're trying to establish, but you know that you need to optimize your health first, then this cohort of Farm to Table is for you. You may have heard me say this term radical obedience before, which I define as doing what we feel called to do despite the presence of fear and uncertainty. And in this edition, this special edition of Farm to Table that will be taking place from February 12th to April 30th, I specifically want to work with individuals who already have a personal brand, who are trying to establish a personal brand, who have maybe a public-facing role, who has to use their voice, who needs to tell their story, who wants to speak, who wants to teach, who has an assignment that they need to use their health in order to execute on. I want to work with you if you have weight issues, if you have chronic health challenges, if you have issues with energy, fatigue, sleep, eating habits, and you know that those things are directly impacting how you're currently showing up in the world. You need to be in this cohort of Farm to Table with us on Wednesday evenings from February 12th to April 30th. Over the years, I've slowly become a public figure through my public platform, using my voice to teach, to speak, to coach, taking stages. And it has been one of the best times of my life. But the thing that has allowed me to do that well and consistently is the fact that I prioritized my health first. My public platform and my personal brand all started from the private work that I did on myself. And so if you need a coach in a community to assist you with that private work, to do the work that's necessary to optimize your health so that you can feel your best, so that you can feel confident, and so that you can show up on assignment, then this cohort of Farm to Table is for you. I want to invite you to click the link in the show notes to register for our fast approaching cohort of Farm to Table that's starting on February 12th, and join us and get the assistance, the guidance that you need, the nutrition science, the exercise science, but most importantly, the personal development work that you need to do in order to show up as your best self in the public light. Click the link in the show notes. I look forward to speaking with you soon. Now back to the show.
Let's get into stage 3 because I don't know why I'm about to get emotional because so many of us are so gifted and we have assignments that we've been given and we are not turning in assignments. We have assignments that we've been given and we are not turning in assignments. You have no idea how many people I talk to and they're just like, I had this wonderful idea. I have this wonderful vision for doing this in the real estate industry, doing this in the food industry, doing this in the fitness industry, doing this in the, oh my God, in the nonprofit sector. And everybody's just disobedient. It's like disobedience raining from this every day. Everybody's just so disobedient and they unhappy. I'm like, how you disobedient and unhappy? Like you got to make a move. So you either need to make a decision for stage 1 or you need to work on your limiting beliefs, stage 2. Let's get into the final stage. So stage 1, no exit. Stage 2, no execution. Let's get into the final one. Now, let's say you're like, Lisa, I mean, you've been on here 32 minutes, 33 minutes. I'm listening to you. You ain't described me yet. Okay. Because first of all, boom, typed it in the Navi. Second of all, boom, started the car and driving. I have an exit strategy and I'm executing, Lisa. So you ain't talking to me, but I do feel stressed though, but I do feel overwhelmed. Well, let's talk about number 3. The final stage of chronic stress that you may or may not be in. Lisa, I'm executing, but I don't necessarily execute every day. Lisa, I'm executing like I'm eating mostly right. I'm working out, a fair amount of time, more than I used to. People love saying that. I'm doing better than I was before, Lisa. Yep, I know that I want to work for myself. And so even though I'm still at the 9 to 5, I'm clear on what I want to do instead. So I work on it every now and then. Like I be listening to entrepreneurial podcasts and I be tapping into the Small Business Association sometime and hopping on their free webinars. Or you know what, Lisa, I actually invested in a business coach. I'm actually in a business coaching program. Right. And so not only do I have an exit strategy, Lisa, I'm executing. I'll be going to classes when they had classes and I'll be listening to my coach and I'm so like, Lisa, I'm executing. I'm just not like consistent. Stage 3, you might be chronically stressed because you have no endurance. You have no endurance. So I started the car. I'm driving. But like sometimes I just pull over for a little bit because I just need to rest. Sometimes, like I'm driving, but it's taking me a little longer than it should be to get to the destination. Like the navigation told me the ride was going to take 30 minutes. But right now I'm on the second hour, Lisa, because I keep pulling over to rest. Like I did start the podcast and I did a solid 3 episodes, but I ain't been back to it in 3 months. Like, no, I started, like I did some of the work. Like I went live that one time. But when nobody didn't show up and nobody commented, I got in my feelings and I ran to the corner to lick my wounds and I'm still in the corner. Like I ain't came out the corner yet. So like I started and I be doing some of the things, but I'm still not getting results and it's still stressing me out because I'm still in my 9 to 5 miserable. And so even though I started my exit strategy to get out of my 9 to 5, I'm not necessarily moving at the speed and the pace that I should be based on the amount of pain I'm in. I'm not moving at the speed and the pace that I should be based on the amount of pain I'm in, because I don't have any endurance. Like I can't handle rejection, Lisa. Like I told somebody my offer and what I was selling and I told them my price and they told me no, or they told me they couldn't afford it, or 3 people told me no, or 4 people told me no and told me they could afford it. And so I just chucked that up as this wasn't going to work. I had 4 people out of 3 million tell me no. And so I just decided that it's not going to work. And so I just put the business down for a little while. I just put the social media, the YouTube down for a little while. I just put the podcast on the shelf for a little bit. I wrote 2 chapters and I ain't been back to the book in 2 years for a little bit. Like I ate 2 good plant-based meals. Then I had one that I didn't like. And then that week I also had stepped on the scale and then they moved. And so I just went back to fish for a little while. Like I just went back to dairy. Like, yeah, it made my cramps worse that week. Yeah, my headaches came back because I had a little sugar. But like I'm still plant-based mostly, Lisa. Like I'm still doing good most of the time. But like you ain't got no endurance, fam. You don't have any endurance. Who told you that you was going to get in the car, put the destination in the Navi, start it up, start driving, and wasn't going to be no potholes and no speed bumps? I'm from Detroit. It ain't a place we can't go without a god doggone speed bump in the pothole. If you was expecting a smooth ride, you were Delulu is the Salulu. Y'all know what I like to say. You was delusional. The Lulu is the Salulu. So let me get this straight. You thought soon as you put in a letter of resignation, soon as you quit the job, soon as you started the business, soon as you hung the open sign on your virtual business, that everybody was going to come running. Everything was going to be perfect. You was going to be able to hire the perfect people. You was going to get all the sales. You was going to be a multimillionaire in 6 months. You thought as soon as you start the plant-based diet, all the weight was going to come off in a 30-day challenge and 2 medications was going to be gone. And if it didn't happen by February 1st, throw the whole plan away. And you thought as soon as you start dating again that the first person wasn't going to be no foolishness and that it was supposed to work out and be loved. And because you had to kiss a few frogs, you said, forget it. I'm back for the streets. Like soon as it don't, you have no endurance. You can't go on multiple dates. You can't get told no multiple times. Like you can't go live without nobody being here because you and your feelings. As soon as your technology messed up, as soon as you can't figure out how to share your screen on Zoom, I'm not good at technology. Just forget it all. I quit. You have no endurance. And that's why you still stressed out because your expectations were all wrong. We are delusional. Child, how they be fanning themselves? Y'all done made me upset. Why y'all do this? Y'all, it's Monday. Oh, child. The Lulu is the Salulu. So let me get this straight. You just gonna stay overweight and pre-diabetic just because you made a plant-based pasta and it ain't taste as good as you expected. Forget it. I quit. Bring back the cheese and the sugar. Bring back the processed food and the saturated fat. I can't take it. I don't have no endurance. I can't make it through one meal that is not as good as I thought it should be. You ain't got no endurance. Like, my gosh, the workout hurt. I ain't never going back to the gym again. I couldn't figure out how to work the elliptical and now I'm embarrassed. You ain't got no endurance. The Lulu is the Salulu. You just thought soon as I made the right step towards obedience, the heavens was going to open up and pave the road so that it was smooth with no bumps. Child, what foolishness. So you just stay chronic stressed then. Ain't nobody got time to be playing with y'all. So let's review, boys and girls. So, let me give you the issue. So I told you in stage 1, if you have no exit strategy, it's because you're not making decisions. I told you in stage 2, if you have an exit strategy with no execution, it's because you have a belief issue. So you have limiting beliefs that's stopping you from taking action on the exit strategy. If you're in stage 3 where you have no endurance, you have a faith issue. So pick where you fall. Are you chronically stressed because stage 1, you just have no exit strategy. You just overwhelmed and wayward, but that's all you think about. You don't think about how to get out of pain. You don't think about what do I need to do instead. You haven't made a decision about where you want to go. You just like settling into that life just happens to me and I'm a victim. You're not taking control of nothing. So that's stage 1, no exit strategy and no enter strategy. Stage 2 is, Lisa, I got strategies, but I'm not executing because I don't believe I'm good enough, or I don't believe I'm qualified, or I don't believe there's enough time, or I don't believe I can afford to delegate my current responsibilities so I can work on some other stuff. Like, what's the belief that's stopping you from executing? That's stage 2. And then stage 3 is I'm executing, but not at the speed and pace that I need to based on the pain I'm in. And the reason I'm not executing at the speed and pace that I need to is because I have no endurance, because I lack faith. The reason you keep pulling over on the side of the road, I don't know what made me to say, hey, we're going to use the transportation example for the whole episode. But the reason you keep pulling over on the side of the road is because you really don't believe, like the faith, you lack faith because you like, I don't have control. Like, I don't know what's on that next street. Like, I can only see the street in front of me, but based on these navigation directions, there's like a bunch of turns. And because I can't see around the corner, come on, Lisa, because I can't see around the corner, I'm too afraid to keep going. So I keep stopping and starting because all I see right now is that nobody's showing up for my lives. Like, all I see right now is that nobody's downloading my podcast. Like, all I can see right now is that the scale ain't moved in 2 weeks and I've been trying to eat these plants. So because I can't see around the corner and then the next corner and I can't see all the steps, right? I lack faith. And so I keep running back to what's familiar. I got 1 foot in the boat and 1 foot on dry land because dry land is familiar to me. And so I have no endurance. I can't keep following the steps with my eyes closed. I need to be in full control. And if I don't have full control, if nobody can give me a guarantee of success, if nobody can give me a guarantee that it's going to work out, then like I'm just going to keep pulling over so I can catch my breath and then maybe I get back in the game. So I got a strategy and I do some things every now and then, but I have no endurance. I have no endurance for the speed bumps and potholes because I'm from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So you pick where you are on this chronic stress journey and you make the appropriate adjustment. Are you in stage 1 where you need to start making some decisions so you can have an exit strategy? Are you in stage 2 where you need to start executing on the exit strategy, but you got personal development work to do. You got beliefs you need to unveil and work on. Or are you in stage 3 where you've been moving, but not at the speed and pace that you need to, and definitely not consistently because you have a faith issue? You cannot relinquish enough control to be successful. Did you know your own control could be stopping you? Like you can be the bottleneck in your success. You could potentially be the bottleneck in your success. Lisa, what stage is it if you have the strategy and endurance, but you're executing slowly because of fear? That's stage 3. You're not executing at the speed and pace that you need to based on the pain you're in. So you're executing, you said slowly. This sounds like that speed is not the speed you need to be to get you where you need to go, right? So you done put the navigation in, you done put the destination in the navigation system. The navigation system told you to turn on the highway. The speed on the highway is 70 miles per hour. You doing 20. And you said it, Angel. You said because of fear. Fear is a faith issue. Like no matter how much action we take, guys, and no matter how much R&D we do, research and development we do, no matter how much, when you're being radically obedient, there's always going to be a part of the journey that you're going to have to just trust. Does that make sense? And so for some of us, we want to be in so much control. We want to know, like, somebody, please just give me a guarantee. Like, somebody, please just tell me it's going to work out. Like, here's how we say it. God, give me a sign. Right? And I'm here for it. I'm here for the signs because God be giving signs. Right? But we like, I'm just somebody give me, like, we don't already got about 50-11 confirmations, but God, just give me one more. I need a 50-12. We already got 50-11 confirmations, but I just need 50-12, right? Just give me one more confirmation and then tell me that that's it. You know what I mean? And so that dictates our pace. You're in stage 3. You don't have endurance. You like are not moving at the pace that you need to move based on the pain that you're in. This is why chronic stress exists for us, guys. It's usually not the circumstance itself. It's usually no strategy, no execution, or no endurance. No strategy, no execution, or no endurance. Is this helpful today? Before I get off, just put stage 1, 2, or 3. Where are you at right now? If you're experiencing stress and overwhelm, where are you at? No strategy, no exit or enter strategy, no execution, or no endurance, meaning you're going too slow. You keep pulling over. And like soon as something don't go as planned, you take that as a sign that it's not going to work out. That's stage 3. What stage are you in? Stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3? No exit, no execution, or no endurance. Okay. Which one is it? And remember, so I'm seeing a lot of 2s and a lot of 3s. So stage 2, you have a belief issue. You got to work on those limiting beliefs. And I'm going to tell you something just from my experience is that when it's a belief issue that's stopping you from taking action, typically you need help. Like you need a third party to help shift your beliefs. It's not going to be a matter of just like waking up and saying, I'm good enough every day in the mirror, right? You're going to need somebody to really help you with like truly to stop believing that is to start believing the truth. Like where you are versus where you want to be, takes us you need a raised level of consciousness. So if you're in stage 2 and it's really a belief issue, like maybe you have beliefs around lack, you have, beliefs around like imposter syndrome and like, I can't do this. Or maybe you've had past failures that are dictating your present behavior. Like I've tried a business before, or I tried marriage before or whatever, and it didn't work out. And so I'm really afraid to go forward, right? Because of a past experience. Like you usually need a good coach or a good therapist or something to really help you with that belief, to really get to the root of that belief and dig it up and out of there, right? So if those of you who are in stage 2, that belief thing is serious. Stage 3, faith issue. I need you guys to understand that in this case, it's about surrendering. It's about complete surrender. Like you're going to have to keep driving and at the speed limit that's on that road. If you're at a stage or a step in your exit strategy where you could go a little faster, speed up. You can speed through this part. You don't have to take as long on this part. There are going to be some steps in your exit and enter strategy that does require you to slow down. There's other steps on your strategy where you can go 70, 75 miles per hour. You guys have to match the pace based on the step. Like it don't take 3 months to register a new business. It don't take 3 months to set up the social media pages. It don't take 3 months to set up the website. Like, these are the steps you could have sped through. This could have been done in 2 weeks. Like, why has it been 2 years? Like, it don't take all of that. So y'all gonna have to start moving at the pace based on the step in the system. Does that make sense? Like, everything can't be slow. You can't research the heck out of everything. Some of y'all need to take research out back and shoot it. Like, it's too much. Okay, it don't take all that. Just decide on what you're going to call the company and move on. But should I call it this or should I call it that? Child, you can file a DBA, doing business as. Just name the company and let's move on. You've been on the same step for it's too much. Let's just do it. Okay, so please, if you want to get out of a state of chronic stress, guys, this is what's going to be required of you. And none of the things that I named today are super easy. None of them are super easy. As an understanding also in that, okay, this is going to be uncomfortable and this is going to be hard work. Hope it's been helpful, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, y'all.
You tuned in today because, like me, you refuse to let your good become the enemy of your great. You're not settling for good health when optimal is well within reach. If you're ready to go from good to great, visit lisaangelsmith.com to learn more about our plant-based health coaching program, Farm to Table, and our plant-based business accelerator and coaching certification. But before you go, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast. Until next time, remember, radical obedience is still undefeated. Stay obedient.